Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Ella and I'm 25 years old. I was recently married. That was such a weird way of putting it. I was recently married. It sounds like my dad's literally exchanged my hand in marriage for a couple of goats. I got married recently. I'm a newlywed, a wife, some would say. And yeah, I do a lot of lifestyle content, lots of vlogs, as well as some money and budgeting videos. So if you guys are into that, definitely consider subscribing and follow me over on my Instagram as well if you want to keep up with me and my life. Lots of wedding content on there at the moment. I have so much to share with you guys, which I can't wait for, including this video, which has been highly requested. It's truly combining my two favorite things in the world: wedding planning and budgeting. Yeah, today I'm going to be talking through our wedding budget, going through a breakdown of how much we actually spent and talking real numbers. You guys know, if you have been subscribed for a while, I love to do my monthly reset videos, and I always try and be as honest and transparent as possible when it comes to personal finance, because I just think it's so important. I feel like there's not enough of a conversation around it, particularly with women. It's just kind of a taboo thing, and I'm here to break that. So hopefully this is helpful for anyone that is newly engaged. Congratulations, how exciting. Or anyone that is in the midst of wedding planning, or maybe you just want to know, like you're just nosy. I mean, I don't blame you, sis. Join the club. Before I get into our wedding budget and talking through real numbers, I wanted to give a few tips and like tidbits of advice about the wedding budget, just as like a place to start. My first piece of advice is to try and find any kind of resources that will give you an estimated budget for weddings in your area, because where you live is going to heavily impact how much your wedding is actually going to cost. Planning a wedding in New York City versus little old Adelaide, South Australia, like the costs are going to differ dramatically. If you can find something that gives you estimates of wedding costs in your area, that is a really great place to start, just to give you some kind of budget to work off. That's what I did. If you live in Australia, I'll have a couple of links to some resources that I use down below. My next tip when it comes to working out your wedding budget, and just in general, just for general wedding planning purposes, definitely recommend starting with your guest list. Even if it's not 100% accurate, just a general number to work off. Obviously, the cost for wedding is going to differ greatly depending on how many people you have. So work out who you want to invite, roughly how many people that'll be. That's a really good place to start just in general when it comes to wedding planning, because a lot of the decisions that you have to make, like your venue, catering, drinks, like all of that is going to depend on how many people you actually invite. So really good place to start. Our final guest count was 61 people. So we had a pretty, I don't know if you'll call it a small wedding, on the smallest side. It was just close friends, close family, and I'm really glad we did it that way. We had a bigger engagement party of like 110 people, I think there was, so we could celebrate with like our wider circle, and then our wedding was a lot more intimate, and it was really special. For me personally, I didn't want to have a wedding day where I was being introduced to people. Like I wanted to know, and I wanted Nick to know, every single wedding guest. Like we didn't want to be doing that awkward like, oh hi, nice to meet you, this is my wife. We wanted to try and avoid that as much as possible. So yeah, if they weren't people that either of us, I mean, we've been together 4.5 years. If either person hadn't met you in the last 4.5 years, like you're probably not coming to the wedding. So I know it sounds cutthroat, it sounds pretty savage, but you've got to make those calls. And yeah, that was kind of our criteria. But if you want a wedding with 200-300 people, like go off, sis. My next tip is to not be afraid to have hard conversations about money and financial contributions from family. Obviously, it's going to depend so much on family dynamics and their financial situations. I mean, if someone wants to pay or contribute to your wedding, they'll let you know. Like it's just, yeah, I went into wedding planning not expecting anything from either of our parents, so our whole budget was designed around us paying for everything, which is honestly kind of a good tip. It just meant that if anything fell through or like things didn't work out, we knew that we could cover the cost. Like we were never going to be in debt for our wedding. So I mean, both of our parents did contribute financially, in the spirit of transparency. I'm not going to say how much, just out of respect for both of them. I don't mind being honest about our finances, but I just don't think it's necessary to say how much. But they did contribute. We still paid for majority of it, but they did contribute, and it was very much appreciated. Like I said, it wasn't something that I expected going into wedding planning. I really didn't think, I don't know, like I just never really thought about it. But just don't be afraid to, I guess, set expectations around those contributions. Not like, oh my god, give me this much money, this is my expectation. More so in what you'll do with that money. So keeping them in the loop about how you plan your day to be and what you want to do with that money. Like it's your wedding at the end of the day. I know for me personally, if someone was willing to offer me, say, $1,000, but they said this is for a specific thing and there's strings attached to that contribution. Like, do I really want that $1,000 that bad? Probably not. That's just me personally. I just think sometimes it can get a little bit messy when people pay specifically for things. Often that can lead to people feeling like they have ownership over that and feeling like they can make calls on your behalf. So just keep that in mind. This is just like more of a general wedding tip, but look after yourself. Like, it's your wedding at the end of the day. So that's that. Oh my God, I keep popping a button. My boobs are like so big right now. I'm about to get my period and the period boobs are real. They're like popping out left, right and center. Don't mind me. Anyway, and then my last tip is to choose 3 things that you and your partner are willing to spend a little bit extra on. 3 things that are important to you. So for us, those things were our photographer and videographer. We really wanted to have good photos and a nice video to look back on our day. I feel like the day goes so fast, like so fast. I know everyone says it, but it's literally over in the blink of an eye. I swear I blacked out for half the day because there are so many things I don't remember, and I wasn't even drunk. Like, I just simply do not remember. I don't know, like, just so happy that I completely forgot what happened. So yeah, that's when photos and videos really come into play. Those are things that you'll be able to take away from the wedding. There's not many things that you take away at the end of the day, other than, you know, a lifetime of love and happiness. Food and drink were also quite important to us. We did have the option with our venue to have a cocktail wedding, but for us, we really wanted to have a sit down meal. So yes, it was more, and yes, we could have saved a lot of money if we had done a cocktail style wedding, but for us, we really wanted to have a meal for everyone to sit down and enjoy and have our first meal as a husband and wife with all of our friends and family. So it's just what's important to you. But yeah, there's no right way or wrong way to plan a wedding or to spend your money. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much judgment about money in general and about weddings and how much people spend. If you want to spend $200,000 on your wedding day, go off, sis. If that's what you want to do with your money, who am I to tell you what to do with it? And if you want to spend $200 on your wedding day, go off, sis. Like, I don't know. Judgment-free zone, please. Thank you very much. Alrighty, let's get into the budget and talking through how much we actually spent. So the template I downloaded from a wedding website, and when I went back to go look at it, the website's just completely gone. Like, it's just, it doesn't exist anymore. I did make some changes to it and just kind of like customize it to suit my needs. So I'll have, if I can figure out how to, but I'll have that link down below if you guys want to download it. You can see up the top, we've got the bride and groom, Nick and Ella. Oh, that should be Ella and Nick. How rude of me. I come first. Thank you very much. And I am the bride. Cool. Ella and Nick, our wedding date was the 23rd of April. Best day of my life. I could cry just thinking about it. And yeah, our final guest count was 61. So you can kind of see this is broken down into different categories. We've got like our wedding rings, venue and planning hire, photography, videography, fashion, paper goods, all of these different categories. And then as you can see, we've got 2 different colors. This was just something that I wanted to do just as like a nice visual. Originally, everything was white. And then as we booked our vendors and paid a deposit, I made it this light pink color. And then once things were fully paid for, I made it this darker pink color. So that way, when I looked at our wedding budget, I could see exactly what we still needed to book because it was white, what we had booked and had paid a deposit for, and then what we had paid for in full. So just gives you like a good visual representation. I'm like a very color orientated person. I just like to have a good visual, you know? So that's how I did it. I actually saved a copy of our original wedding budget before I finished it, so you could kind of see the 2 different colors. Obviously we've paid for everything now, and this is what it looks like at the end. It's all dark pink because we paid for everything, which is such a good feeling. Like when I got to update it to a dark pink, best feeling ever. We've also got a few different columns. So we've got the cost or the estimated cost. So I started off with estimates, and then when I knew what the actual cost was, I would update it. And then we've got the amount that we've paid for so far, our supplier name, so we could keep track of them. And then if you wanted to add like their contact details, I had that on a separate spreadsheet, but if you want to add that, when our deposit was due or when we paid our deposit, if it was paid, and then when our final payment was due and if we had paid for that as well. So yeah, so starting off with our first category, we have our wedding rings. We spent $284 on those. We got them from Shields. To be honest, this one's kind of misleading because I didn't pay for my wedding ring. My wedding ring was actually gifted to me in exchange for some social media content that I did with Shields, which is where my engagement ring was from. So Nick did pay for my engagement ring, but the matching wedding band was gifted to me, or was like my payment for working with them on my Instagram and on my channel. But we did pay for Nick's ring. That was $284 from Shields. We got it when it was on sale. I think the original price was like $500. Rings are one of those things that you can definitely get a lot cheaper, especially if you buy them from bigger jewelry stores, because they always have sales. Then for our ceremony venue hire, I guess I should explain where we got married. We had our ceremony outdoors at the Adelaide Botanic Gardens, and then our reception was at a different venue, still in the city. It was walking distance from the Botanic Gardens. I think it was like a 10-minute walk, so it was super close. That was really important to us and a good way to save money. We didn't have to pay for transport for people because they could literally walk between the two venues. And our reception was at Chateau Apollo, which is on Frome Street. It's so beautiful. I mean, if it's your cup of tea, it's really beautiful. I loved it. Very like urban, I don't want to say like warehouse vibes, because it's not. Like urban. I don't know. I really can't think of any other adjectives to describe it. It's a very unique venue, but one that we fell in love with and was perfect for our wedding and our guest count. So for our ceremony venue hire, it was $1,136. That included 57 chairs, a signing table, booking the ceremony site, and then our photographer permit. Oh, we also had some plinths with some silk flowers on them that we hired through them, so it wasn't too bad. And then for our reception venue hire, it was only $1,000, which is pretty cheap, especially compared to some of the other places we were looking at. Definitely on the more affordable side, which was really nice. And then we paid an extra $500 for the setup. So all of the staff set up our furniture, which we had to outsource, the linen, candles, all of the decor. That way we didn't have to worry about it. So yeah, our total for reception, venue hire, and the setup was $1,500. And then for our wedding photographer and videographer, we actually booked them together. So their names are Taylor and Grace from T&G Studio. If you live in Adelaide and you're looking for a wedding photographer or videographer or both, I would highly recommend them. They are just the best. They're the sweetest couple. They're a couple themselves, so they're engaged. They just work so seamlessly together, and they just made it so easy. They made you feel so comfortable. They were so on the ball, so organized. And our photos from the previews that were sent through, like, just obsessed. Obsessed. If you want to see any of our wedding photos, I'll have a link to my Instagram down below, because I posted a lot on there. I posted a sneak peek of our wedding video, because that was sent through within like a few days, a minute-long video of our wedding day, and I literally watch it 5 times a day. Like, I just can't get enough. And so yeah, we booked them together, so we actually got $500 off. So individually we paid $2,750, or $5,500 for both. And then we also, I've included our engagement shoot. We booked that at the same time as we booked them for our wedding, and that was due at the same time, so I just included it in here. Our engagement shoot was $400. We did that back in, oh my god, it was like over a year ago now. Now moving on to the fashion category. I feel like this is really weirdly organized in retrospect. I'm looking at this and some of these categories could definitely be changed around, but you know what, don't mind me, it makes sense in my head. For my wedding dress, I got it from Love Bridal. I did a whole video on me trying on wedding dresses. I'll have that link down below if you want to watch it. I only went to one wedding dress shop, which was Love Bridal. It was the first dress that I tried on, and it was a Maddie Lane dress, the Halani dress. The cost of the dress was $1,899. I felt so beautiful and just like so myself, but still like bridal version of myself. I loved it. And then for alterations, I didn't really have to get much done, just a bustle added, and then I had it lowered slightly on the back. And alterations were only $160, which I, again, budgeted like $500 because people said budget more than you think you'll need. And it was only $160. My veil I got from Etsy. That was $130. Shoes I got from ASOS. They were only $60. Again, this is a prime example of something I just don't care about. I know for some brides, their shoes are really important. I just didn't really care. I'm not a big shoe gal. I have very wide feet as is, and so I had limited options. ASOS have a really good wide fit range and they're affordable, so I only spent $60 on my shoes. Nobody saw them. I took them off halfway through the night. For jewelry, I only spent $60. I didn't really wear any jewelry apart from a pair of earrings, which were from Ruby and Sage. We did do the whole wedding day perfume, like buy a new perfume / cologne that you can wear on your wedding day, and then every time you spray it, you're reminded of your wedding day. Sickening, I know, but we did it. We spent $200 on both of those, or like together. I think mine was like $140 and Nick's was $60, so sorry. My tan was $35. I went to Goldie Studios. For nails, I spent, I think it was $25. Honestly, this could be zero because my, I'll leave it, we'll make it zero because my, no, we'll leave it at 25. My mum did end up paying for my nails, but I'm sure I spent an extra $25 somewhere else, so we'll leave it at that. For the groom's attire, we spent $0. Nick actually wore a suit that he already owns and that he had barely worn, but he loved. So he didn't match his groomsmen, which I actually think turned out really, really well. I don't know, together we just kind of stand out, and he had his moment. He had his time to shine. So yeah, we didn't spend any money on that. We did buy the Groomsmen Suits though. We got those from Connor. They were $840 for 5 of them. We also had a 20% coupon that we used, so we basically got 1 suit for free. Bow ties also got on sale. I think they were like, let me work it out. God, this is really bad. I should know how much this is. $8. Oh my God. My quick math skills are not good. Yeah, we spent $8 on each of the bow ties. Got 6 of them, 1 for Nick, 5 groomsmen. You do the maths. I can't. I need a calculator apparently. Then for our paper goods, we spent $35 on our wedding invitations. I know. Incredible. I ordered them from Vistaprint. This is like my biggest money saving hack. We ordered them as postcards, A5 postcards. We paid a little bit extra to get them on premium paper and with a natural finish, so they felt premium, but they were postcards, or they were ordered as postcards, and they look like wedding invitations. So rather than spending like $1.20 on each of the invitations, I think we spent like 20 cents. And again, I waited until they went on sale. We spent $35. Look, we spent more on the wax stamp than the actual invitation. I got a personalized stamp from Etsy. That and the supplies for the wax stamps were $39. Then for our envelopes, we spent $4 on them. At Kmart, I really didn't care about the actual envelope. And then for postage, we spent $5. For our celebrant, we spent $675. She was such a sweetheart. We actually met her at a wedding expo, so she had an incentive going on. I think if you booked her within the same month, you got an extra 10% off. Then for our catering, so for food and drink, that was all done through our reception. They have an in-house chef, in-house staff. We had 2 entrees, 2 sides and 2 mains, and it was all kind of share style. There was so much food. It was all so good. And yeah, for 61 guests plus our vendors, and then we had a few kids meals, it was $4,766. Then for our drinks, we did a 5-hour drinks package. I think it was like $60 per person. We had a few non-drinkers and a few teenagers. So we spent $3,360 on the drinks. Our wedding cake cost $495. For our florals, we actually had 2 different vendors. For our bouquets and boutonnieres, or the buttonholes, the things, the flower that the man wears, we actually got fake ones, so they weren't real. I didn't want to have to worry or like compromise on the flowers if they weren't in season, and I had, yeah, quite a specific image of what I wanted our bouquets to look like. And honestly, living in Australia, I didn't want to have to worry about them wilting in the heat, keeping them fresh, like keeping them looking good. And I'm so glad. This is probably one of the best decisions that we made. I think they looked so good. I don't know if anyone could tell that they weren't real, and we only spent $813. That was for 4 bridesmaids bouquets, and then my bridal bouquet, and then 8 buttonholes. So 5 for the groomsmen, 2 for the fathers, and then 1 for Nick as well. So $813 including shipping, not too bad. The great thing about fake flowers is you can always resell them if you want to. I don't know if I will. I mean, I have like mine and like 1 other of the bridesmaids bouquets, and I have no idea what happened to the others, but mine I think I want to hold on to just because it's kind of like sentimental. I can keep it, put it in a vase, and like put it up in our new house and always look at it and be like, oh, that was my wedding bouquet, and it'll go with our decor perfectly. So yeah, love that. And then for our reception florals, I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether or not to do fake ones. In the end, I'm so glad that we did fresh. I think they looked beautiful, and we had someone that came in and just took care of it for us. So she did such an incredible job. We went with Floyd and Frankie. She did all of the centerpieces. So we had greenery going down the middle of all 3 tables. We had flowers on the welcome sign, and then flowers on the staircase as well. So at Chateau Apollo, there's this really big prominent staircase. Like, it's like right when you walk in, there's no avoiding it. I think it's beautiful, but I also realized I had to do something with it. She put greenery down both railings, and then at the bottom had flowers, and it looked stunning. Again, I can't wait to share the photos from the day because it just looked so good. And the total cost for that was $1,675. My hair was done by a family friend who's a hairdresser. She cuts my mum's hair. She did my year 12 formal hair. She does a lot of weddings. Her price was $100 per person. Typically, normally the bride is more, but maybe she undercharged me because she's just that lovely of a person, but yeah, $100 each. Then for my makeup, which I loved, that cost $110. For each of the bridesmaids, it was $95, and the travel costs. For our furniture hire, our tables were $126, chairs were $584, linen was $95, napkins were $42. They did the GST separately for some reason, which is like the tax. We paid extra for a damage waiver, and then the delivery costs were like, the total was $400. For our neon sign, we spent $645. We got it done through Sketch. Definitely a little bit more of an expensive, kind of unnecessary purchase. I mean, a whole wedding's unnecessary when you think about it, but this was something that I really wanted. So we got a personalized sign that says the McGraths, and it's actually hanging up in our bedroom at the moment, and I love it. And then our only other decor was like a ton of candles. We had candles on the main staircase, and then we had candles all along the tables. We did a mix of pillar candles and then some small tea light candles. I think in total it was kind of hard to keep track of because we went across like several different shopping trips. We got all of them from IKEA apart from some of the pillar ones, but in total we spent about $200 on the candles and then $200 on all of the glasses. For our place cards, I saw some of these really cool gold discs on Pinterest. I found them on Etsy, but they were like, I think a few dollars per person, and so I ended up doing them myself. I bought these gold coasters from IKEA, and then I used my Cricut machine and added the vinyl decals, and I did them individually for each person. It was definitely a labor of love, but I love how they turned out and they looked so good. Then for our signage, we had a welcome sign and a seating chart. Both of those were designed by Creo Designs. She's actually a follower of mine who reached out and asked if she could design them for me. So sweet of her. Yeah, she was just the best. So easy to work with. She's so talented, and I loved how they both turned out. The actual welcome sign stand we got from Facebook Marketplace. It was $120. It was originally like a rose gold copper color, like it was copper piping, and then my dad spray painted it gold. And then for the seating chart, we just put it on a white easel. Menus I designed myself, or I got an Etsy template and then yeah, printed them from Vistaprint. Again, I printed them as postcards. We got some disposable cameras from Kmart. I think we got 5 of them, so that was $110. Our cake topper, we got a personalized one from Etsy that was $35, including postage. Table numbers and our small signs I got from Laser Blanks, and then again I used my Cricut machine to do the vinyl and made my own. In total for Etsy templates, I spent about $14. I used an Etsy template for our wedding invitations and our menus. We then spent $48 on bubbles. Where we got married, we weren't allowed any kind of confetti, so our only option really were bubbles. And I'm actually really glad we did this. I think the photos turned out beautiful. But yeah, we spent $48 on bubbles from Big W. Then for music and entertainment, we had a DJ that was $1,050. That was for 6 hours. Really glad that we paid for a DJ. I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether or not a DJ was necessary. Like, I have Spotify. I've got Spotify Premium. I can put together a playlist, like just whack it on. Good to go. But if you have the money and the budget for it, I would really recommend it. It just made life so much easier. We also had a photo booth that was $850 for 4 hours. We hired Aloha photo booth because I'd seen them on Instagram and they actually had nice looking photo booths. Like whenever I thought of photo booths, I thought like red curtain, kind of ugly, like little box thing in the corner, but this is like a beautiful photo booth. It looks good and it was so much fun. That was also kind of like our little wedding favor because all of our guests got a strip that they could take home with them to like remember the day, so that was super special. And then we also got a copy sent to us online so we could go back the next day and like look through all the photos that everyone had taken, and it was so funny. For our wedding accommodation, Nick stayed with his groomsmen the night before at an Airbnb, and then I booked 2 nights at the Crowne Plaza. That was $754. Yeah, definitely on the more expensive side, but the location was perfect, and we got, I think it was the most expensive room, the executive suite. The only reason I booked that one is because it came with a like extra room, like it was a suite. I had plenty of space to get ready with myself and my bridesmaid, hair, makeup, you know how it is. And then for the last category, we have favors and gifts. So I ordered a breakfast platter from Crazy Little Things for myself and my bridesmaids to have while we were getting ready. Yeah, that was $135. Then for our parents' gifts, we spent a total of $114. I got all of those from Etsy. I showed them in my wedding week vlog. at the end. I also included our wedding party proposal boxes in the budget. So I think we spent a total of about $220. For the groomsmen, we got these personalized whiskey flasks and a matching whiskey glass from Etsy. And then for my bridesmaids, I made all of mine, like actually put together the box myself, which saved a bit of money. Again, I did a whole video on that as well, so I'll have that link down below. I also got hangers. I was meant to customize all of them, like personalize all of them, but I ran out of time / forgot. Yeah, I spent $5 on wooden hangers from Kmart. For the bridesmaids earrings, I spent $100. Again, I got them on sale. They were from Ayla and Oak. I also ordered some slippers. I got them from Kmart. They were $30 for all 5 of us because I got myself a pair as well. Comfiest slippers ever. That's the most memorable part of my wedding days. Freaking slippers. They were so soft, so comfortable. For Kmart as well. Incredible. Last but not least, I also ordered some pajamas for myself and my bridesmaids. I ordered them from La Rose. I think if you spend over $250, you get an additional 20% off. I did spend a little bit extra because I got all of them personalized with everyone's initials. It's the most stressful thing in my life. I was like umming and ahhing about what to do with my friend Tash. I mean, we all call her Tash, but her actual name's Natasha. And I was like, do I do NJ or do I do TJ? Oh, so stressful. I ended up going with NJ. It was the wrong decision and I didn't know it. And then we happened to be talking like a few weeks later after I'd already ordered them about initials, and she's like, yeah, no one ever calls me Natasha. And I was like, ah! But they looked great. They all looked great. We got some really funny photos as well, like getting ready champagne pop photos, which I posted on my Instagram. Literally the funniest moment of my life. I also got myself a pair, of course, and the total amount for all of those were $353. Definitely a little bit more on the pricey side, but that was like my present to the girls, which brings us to our grand total. The total amount that we spent on our wedding day was $31,650. How do we feel? I mean, I feel great. Yes, $31,650 is a lot of money to spend on just one day, I'm aware, but I can honestly say that we had the best day, like the best day of our lives so far. We stuck to budget. My original budget was $32,000. I think it was originally $30,000, and then like 6 months before I was like, let's make it $32,000 because I haven't really accounted for all these miscellaneous expenses and our accommodation I hadn't budgeted for, so that was my bad. But yeah, we made it work. $32,000 was our budget. We came in under, which was always a good feeling, and yeah, it was truly the best day. I know everyone says that, but it really was. So yeah, that is my wedding budget breakdown. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I really hope it was helpful for anyone out there that is planning a wedding or thinking about planning a wedding or might be planning a wedding in like 5 years time. Hopefully this was a helpful video just to see some real numbers. And if you're not planning a wedding, I hope you enjoyed seeing how much we spent. I feel like there's a scale, like a sliding scale when it comes to wedding planning. There's people that see it as one day and like, why would you spend ridiculous amounts of money on just one day? And then people on the other end of the scale that see it as it's your wedding day, like you're never gonna get this moment back. No amount of money is too much money to have the best day of your life. And I feel like we fall somewhere like just here. Just kind of keeping the perspective that yes, it is just one day, like we don't want to go in debt or spend like ridiculous amounts of money for us personally, but then we also like, it's just our wedding day, like we want to enjoy it, we want it to be the day that we want, and I really feel like we got that. So yeah, so happy with how everything turned out and how everything came together, and I'm just so happy to be married finally to the love of my life, my best friend. That being said, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I know this was a bit of a long one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And also be sure to follow me over on my Instagram, especially if you want to keep up with all of the wedding content. I still have so much stuff to share with you guys. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I'll see you very, very soon for another video. Bye guys.